Let's do these combine winners and losers, Georgia edition. Okay, so these are only Georgia players that we're talking about here. Let's start with the winners. I got one right here, Brock Bowers. And I know a lot of people, yourself included over there. I saw that. Well, Brock Bowers, but he didn't run, Brooks. He didn't do nothing. He didn't even work out. I would argue it's okay, honestly, and here's why I think he's a winner. The positional value is tremendous at the tight end position. Every team wants one. Every team wants a good one. They don't just want one. They want a great one. They want a Kittle. They want a Kelsey. They want name another great one. Sam Laporta. They want that one, right? They want one of these success stories at the tight end position to revitalize their offense. And only one guy at the NFL Combine proved that he's one of these freaks, right? And it's Theo Johnson. And I'm going to tell you right now, as great as he tested, the tape discrepancy and the tape difference or delta, right? The difference in the tape of Brock Bowers and Theo Johnson was never going to be tested away. It was never going to be tested away. And not only that, the rest of the group of tight ends proved that they were a bunch of Jags, bunch of just another guys. Like, I don't believe there is another Sam Laporta in this group, right? A guy that tested out of the world and just proved, hey, we gotta pay attention to this kid out of Iowa. It wasn't like that, right? It was Theo Johnson. Congrats. We still like this Brock Bowers guy as the clear and head and shoulders guy. He was a winner, in my opinion, just off of doing nothing. He was a winner by proxy.
I have him as a neutral because I feel like I agree with everything you said. Like, it's clear he's far and away the more talented option. But I also think that we already kind of knew this coming into the combine. Like, he didn't really do himself any favors. Like, his draft stock hasn't changed at all, even though he didn't need to. I think that just because Brock Bowers is so far and away the clear-cut number one that he didn't really change his draft stock, help it or hurt it. Like, it's a neutral. It's a neutral for me.
Do you think he'll do any testing at the pro day?
I would imagine.
Yeah.
I wanted to see him run so bad.
I know.
When you have GPS testing that says you're 22 and a half, like, you ain't got to run. You've been running.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think you're good there.
Mm-hmm.
What you got?
As a winner?
Yeah, I think there's a couple that are obvious.
I think Javon Bullard was a winner.
Amen.
I think there was really the one question that we had amongst our group when we were talking about pre-combine measurables and kind of what we expected of them, or maybe something that might hurt them in the draft process. It was, what's he going to test in the 40-yard? And he put a very, very solid time on the 40-yard time, and I think that only increased his draft stock. So I think he was obviously a winner of the weekend.
And the same could be said about Tyke, obviously, as well.
Yeah, I had Tyke on there too. I had Rojak as a winner. I felt like Rojak really did a good job of displaying that he has good catching abilities. He's everything you want in a route run. He's got good size. He didn't run, so he didn't get knocked on the speed, even though that's probably going to be a minus on him. But I think Rojak bumped up a couple of spots in the draft.
Just because he showed natural hands?
Yeah, and I mean, good route running abilities. He looks solid overall as a prospect.
I had him as a loser because of how great the rest of the receiver corps is.
Yeah, but I don't think that.
I mean, he's not a. It's a group
but is
of
he
freaks.
Right.
Just
but is
12
he
deep, 13 deep
but
freaks.
To counterpoint that, like, is Rojak competing with that group?
That's why
No.
I don't think
He was competing for day 2 or day 3 draft.
And
picks.
let me put, like, and the fact that it is top heavy, that might only help his chances of being drafted earlier, because if you're going to have an insane run early on day one, that only increases his slot of them when the next round of wide receivers goes. Rojak's name might be called.
I think
sooner.
what Rojak has done for himself since February is assure himself that he's going to be a 4th or 5th round draft pick, not a 6th or 7th round draft
exactly.
pick. And that's worth what, $500,000
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a win. That's a win. We will move him out of the losers category.
Getting drafted in that slot tells you that franchise is hoping that you're going to be a contributor on Sundays. We're not drafting you of, like, probably going to be a practice squad guy. You're just going to fill out a role for us. Maybe you make something of yourself.
I know he was kind of already mentioned along with Bullard, but Tyke Smith was just as big of a winner.
I think he was a bigger
as
winner.
Bullard. Yeah, probably even bigger. There was more questions about his top end speed than even Bullard.
Yeah, and he ran faster than Bullard.
He did.
Yeah, so
second fastest of any Georgia player at the combine.
That's insane.
Now, I know we've teased all these other guys. I know for a fact, because he's super excited about doing it, I know for a fact Tyke's going to come on.
Good.
He's going to come in the studio, and he's going to hang out with us. We're going to talk football. And this is a discussion I'm super excited. We've had it via text to an extent, but I'm super excited for him to explain to people, the average fan, myself included, the reason that some of these speed questions were provided.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to really understand the responsibilities that star position has, I think are really going to open our eyes for how we evaluate that position moving forward on this channel. And we really dive it in, I think, better than anybody else, or at least deeper than anybody else from a football perspective, and it's going to open eyes for even us. So I can't imagine what it's going to do, again, for just a layman term, or just the average American football fan. So that's going to be fun. The rest of the guys that have kind of said they're going to do it, I don't know. I don't know. I think I know, and I trust them. They've given the word. They're going to say they're going to do it. But Taki is noticeably excited about coming on and doing it and talking ball with us. So super excited about that one. That's going to be, I don't know. I don't know of anybody else that does that. You know, like I only know of one person in our immediate competitive arena that even has a studio. You know what I mean? It's BA.
Yeah.
It's the original BA.
Shout out BA.
Everybody else out here zooming it. We ain't zooming it, baby. You know what I mean? We zooming past. I'm just kidding. Any other winners?
I think Ladd's a winner.
Yeah.
Neutral. I disagree with that. I disagree with it off of this principle of just the reason that you were talking about how a lot of wide receivers made a name for themselves. Ladd McConkey remained relevant in that first round discussion this weekend, despite everybody else performing at another level and solidifying themselves as a first rounder. When you look at mock drafts coming out this weekend, people are still flirting with the idea of maybe Ladd McConkey is a back end first rounder, and he did exactly what he's expected to, and I think that makes him a winner in it of itself as well.
I have him as a loser. For the one reason of that, everything you said is correct, but I think coming into the combine, Ladd had a real opportunity to secure a first-round selection, have people say, like, hey, that's a guy you need to take in the first round. And the fact that A.D. Mitchell did so well, Xavier Worthy broke the freaking 40 record, a lot of guys did so well too. I think he kind of fell towards the back end of the first round. Might be a day 2 pick now. That's why I have him as a loser. But by no means did he do bad.
To his point, going into this week, there was a clear upper echelon of freaks. Right, it was the Dunzeys, the Marvin Harrisons, the Neighbors, even Keon Coleman and A.D. Mitchell kind of already going into the combine had separated themselves. And apart from running a 4.25, I don't think anything Ladd did this week was ever going to vault him into that discussion.
Right.
Yeah.
So the next discussion becomes who is that next top guy out of that next group, right? And that next group includes names like Xavier Leggett. It includes names like even Ricky Pearsall. It includes names like Xavier Worthy. It includes names in that variety, all of which those are football players. Jermaine Burton. Okay, these are all football players that had equally as good of week or an even better week than Ladd even had. Now, I'm not saying Burton's going to get drafted over Ladd. I'm just saying, hey, a 6 foot, maybe an X, or maybe a Z, maybe a slot guy, both ran 4.41. You see what I'm saying? Both had, Jermaine had a great jumping day.
Yeah.
Elite measurables there. So I think all of the guys in his resounding neighborhood, if you will, all the guys in his area, they had equally as good days. Mm-hmm. And that, for me, makes you a neutral.
Okay. I think we all kind of are saying the same thing and kind of agree that, like, Ladd had a great combine. I think the outside factors depend on what made it a good day.
Bro,
a winner or a loser or not.
It's hard to say you're a winner when 9 guys went sub 4.4 or sub 4.4.
Yeah.
And you were 4.39. Like, you win. You had a great day.
Yeah.
There was 8 guys that had greater days. You know what I mean?
Right.
At a position they had a long list of dudes that are thick in that mix. A neutral experience for SVP from what we know on the face, in my opinion.
I don't think he lost anything.
A push, a straight up push. And what we don't know is what they were doing behind the scenes. I'm sure he interviewed tremendously. Mm-hmm. And those are things we're not going to be privy to. What are you awkwardly smiling about?
Oh, someone peeped the shirt. I was waiting on it.
Oh. What's going on in your shirt?
You haven't seen the movie, clearly.
No.
Coming to America, Randy Watson?
Yeah, I have. I just
Sexual chocolate?
Yeah, not heavy duty into that one. I thought Kendall was a neutral.
Yeah, I thought both Dejon and Kendall were neutrals.
I thought Dejon was a loser.
I thought he was a loser too. I flirted with almost putting Kendall as a winner just because when they put out the measurable charts and everything like that, he tested really, really, really well for him, and amongst all running backs as well. So, I mean, I get why you maybe wouldn't put him as a winner, obviously, just because it's not like he leapt himself all the way into like that. day one, obviously, or early day two discussion, but I think that he had a very, very solid day, and I think in some ways he exceeded some expectations that people had of him.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I have Dejan as just in neutral because I feel like he didn't fall a ton. I don't if he fell at all. Like Dejan's a day 3 guy, probably someone who does. I don't think he did himself any favors, but I don't think he's going to go undrafted because of the combine.
It's just not his event.
No.
No.
I think he's a loser for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like and we knew going into it, not going to be great.
For
in
sure.
Shorts and a t-shirt. He's not a shorts and a t-shirt
No.
football player. He is a put the pads on, watch him get 4.2 yards per carry.
Yep.
It's a 5 foot. He is more Frank Gore than Frank Gore Jr. Like Frank Gore Jr. don't run like his daddy.
No.
Frank
No.
Gore Jr. runs like a one cut back
Yeah.
that has some shiftiness to him, but in terms of being able to always get 4 yards, that's what Dejan Edwards is. He's just not going to be that top end guy. I thought Rojak, by proxy, I already mentioned it. I thought Rojak kind of took a slide, but y'all make solid points. Like he solidified himself as a solid pick in that fourth, fifth round, and that's a win by nature. Zion Logue had a tough day.
Yeah.
Tough day. In a group that other than Braden, the Fisk kid, I don't think anybody had a great day.
No,
Yeah,
it
there
was
was not a
weird,
whole lot of talk
know?
out of the defensive tackle group.
It's not a great class.
No, there's gonna be. There might not be 2 taken in the first round. I mean, Fisk for
Fisk
sure.
and the Murphy kid out of Texas.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think have
Murphy.
solidified themselves as day one guys.
yeah. I forgot Byron Murphy.
And even those, I mean, they might not be top 15 picks.
No, they might.
That's 15 through 32 range that are going to get drafted.
It's gonna be
I
an
think.
offensive draft this year.
Offensive heavy.
Like the
Quarterbacks,
linebacker class isn't great either.
No, it's not. If you told me there wasn't a second round pick at the linebacker position, I wouldn't be shocked.
Mm.
I mean, it's just it's going to go quarterbacks, tackles, corners, and wide receivers in the first round. It'll almost be exclusively that, and then you'll start seeing all those other solid starters in the second round. If you're clear and cut, like I think Marshawn Lloyd's gonna be a second round draft pick because he's a clear cut starter. They think he's gonna go in and play immediately. Same thing for Ladd. Like Ladd's a guaranteed this guy's gonna help our roster, but maybe he doesn't have the ceiling of an all pro. Draft him in the second round.
What'd you have for Kamari Lassiter? Because I was really torn on what to put him
Yeah.
as.
I think everybody knew he wasn't gonna run well.
He didn't run, did he?
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
So that's why he didn't run.
Right.
Yeah.
And I thought there were times where he played out of control in drills.
Mm-hmm.
But isn't that kind of what you sign up for in Kamari? Especially when he's coming downhill. Like, I know when he's coming downhill, he's going to play chest over toes, and I'm okay with that because he's physical.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to strike. You can't go wrong drafting that kid.
No.
You cannot go wrong drafting that kid.